Here's a random update slash getting things done video. Right now I'm just waiting for these bolts to kind of soak on the Shop-Vac because it makes this terrible noise when you use it. So I'm thinking some water got into the motor and corroded it. I'm getting ready to open this up. And an update on the Jetta. I ended up installing a boost gauge. So now I can actually monitor the boost. It seems like it's actually pretty good now that I removed an extra hose. The N75 valve used to have a little coupling going off of this one right here that goes down and feeds the turbo. So I removed that and then just stuck it right in, and my problems have gone away since then. And I fed the boost gauge off of the EGR manifold, which you can see is not an EGR anymore. And then it just goes in to the cabin through that little hole right there. It's just like a rubber grommet that I poked a hole in. So that is a positive for this car. Since the weather is starting to get like this, it's time to get the RAV4 ready for winter. Right now I just have the battery charging because I checked it and it was down to 9 volts. Let's see if the charger is still going. And it is. And I also need to do an oil change because I haven't done one since 306,000 kilometers, and it's over 309 now, which isn't terrible, but the oil's pretty dark, and it's been over a year since I've done it now. So I gotta run and get a filter. I already have some oil. And this thing is still perfect. While I'm waiting for the RAV4 to charge and not feeling like going and getting an oil filter, I'm going to see if I can get this apart. It's had a bit of a chance for the penetrating oil to sink in. Not like it's rusted metal on metal, but I still want to give it the best chance to get these screws out because they are very rusty. It's not looking very promising, but I'll see if I can get this Phillips in there. Yeah, that was the fear. So I also brought these out. Some extractors. I also need an extension because that is very close. Let's try that again. Here's a different style I have, but I'll have to use it in a drill. So far none of that was working, so I'm just going to try a pair of pliers, see if those will bite onto it at all. Okay, first one's turning. Second one is starting to turn. I don't think I'll be able to reach that with these. I found a way to get the good stuck ones off, and that's by using a pair of twin grip pliers by Knipx, because they have little cuts here, almost like teeth, so you can twist like this, and it works not bad. Turns out I'm just dumb, and these are actually Torx, and you can get them to come out by just putting the right bit in. Good thing I realized that for the last two. Now that all the screws are out, I'm going to see how this thing comes apart. This all appears to be solid on the bottom, so something on the top must come off. Oh, there comes the top filter. Are there still screws that are in here? Oh, there are. There's one more I missed. Power of Torx, it comes right out. So here's the inside. You see it's full of dust and all sorts of debris. It looks like lots of drywall mud. coming up with drywall dust. So now, let's see if, yes, I can get the rest of this out. I'll set this off to the side and clean it out in a minute. I'll plug this back in and see what it does. That was terrible. It didn't want to stop. Now let's see how I get it apart further. Oh. There's one screw in there and one missing, so maybe somebody's already been in here before. I think my dad bought this brand new, so maybe he's been in here. I'm going to try turning it on again and spraying some silicone lubricant inside. And if that makes a difference, I'll add some lithium grease as well. Probably not the best idea mixing the two, but this thing is on its way out anyways, so I don't know if there's really much saving it. Probably put this back on. I think it needed to come off. Spray a bit in first. That sounds a lot better. I got this top piece off, and you can see inside of it. The motor actually looks to be in pretty good shape. You can see it is a 2-pole unit, most likely a universal AC or DC motor based on how fast it's spinning. The 2 poles mean it spins pretty fast. At 60 Hertz, it'd probably be going 3600 RPM. So I will try to get some lithium grease on the end bearings. Can't quite see the one for the other side, and I don't want to take this off. That looks rusted on, not very fun. So I'll try to just spray some in the bottom. Try to spray some more of this in too, without the straw, so it goes all over. I'll try to put this back on and keep the wires out of the way of the moving part. Okay, should be good to give it another power up and see what it does. I don't remember which way off or on was. Okay, I guessed right with that being off. Well, you can see it caught some of the lubrication on fire. It seems to work a lot better now after burning off the excess. It's time to put it back together and clean out some of the mess. I don't know if I really care about cleaning this up from here because it doesn't make any functional difference. The top piece has been cleaned by banging it on the floor. I don't think I care to remove any of this because I don't think it makes much of a difference. Yeah, that's the direction it goes. The whole unit is back together now, without cleaning. I lied. I didn't want to do that. And somehow, with the magic of Torx, I managed to put all of the screws back in. That would have been nice to figure out at the beginning. Now it's time to see if it actually wants to suck anything up. It works better than it has in years, I would say. So that was a successful repair. Now it's time to move on to the RAV4, which you cannot see. Maybe? Can you see it? No. And yes, I do have a filter for this. I just took it off before I started the video and forgot to put it back on. And it's always used with this. Somebody will probably say something about that. Now it's time to go to Canadian Tire and get some supplies. The car that needs a rear wiper blade does not have one because the hatch is removable. So you gotta look through that because we can turn on the lights. First, I gotta stop at Costco and get some gas because it's way cheaper and I'm running low. Fuel. And now I got the oil. I decided to buy this more expensive Castrol stuff. It was on $15 off, so can't pass up a deal. Now that I've gotten back, I just saw another problem I've been putting off for a long time. The leaking weather stripping. It's coming in through this crack here, so I think if I take the key out first so it stops chiming, I can push something up underneath here. This is right where it meets with the T-roof. So maybe if I lift it up, I can get in there and add something underneath this part. Oh, I hit myself in the head with the handle. I think I've got an idea for the solution. I'm gonna pump a bit of caulking in here so that it pushes this out. I wanted to use spray foam, but I don't have any and it's expensive. So I'll see if I can get this to go in there, which it looks like it will. Now I've run into an unanticipated problem. If I let go where I'm holding here, all the silicone will run down the weather stripping. And if I pull the end out, you can see what happens. It starts coming out because of the pressure. So I gotta get something to shove in there and something to pinch this. Or I just put the T-top back on and hope that little bit just keeps the rain from getting in. I think that's the solution for now. This has been on the charge for a while, so let's see what the voltage is now. Get off the safety mode here. 12 volts with the charger. I'll unplug that. 11 volts. Oh, we're dropping. Oh. There we go, dirty connection. Okay, almost 12. Time to see if it'll start now. I'm sure it's in neutral. We're getting power. Keep the fan off so I don't get a load of pine needles in the face. Let's see. No. Time to get out the big guns. Before I get out the big guns, I just tried hooking up the little, you can't see it, power thing. Again, the float charger. So let's see if it'll not overload that and start. No, it's close that time. The big guns, or big gun singular, I should say, is in place. You just gotta connect the old jumper cables up. It never works out that the batteries are on the right side, but here it is, working. Let's see if it'll start this time. Okay, out here. There we go. Just needed some encouragement. Probably should have got oil to change in the Pulsar as well, because it's been a while, but it's at the end of its season. I think I'll just do that next spring. The oil's pretty fresh when I started driving again this year too, so I think I did it before I stopped driving it. Back to the RAV4. Let the temperature warm up a bit. I'm not taking it for a drive because it's not plated right now, so I'll just move it around so it's over kind of in the middle here, and then let it warm up, get it somewhere to some sort of temperature, and then drain the oil and put some fresh stuff in. Here's the reason I got 1030 oil. You can see the smoke coming out. Yeah, it's got the old Toyota valve seal problem. Burns a decent amount of oil on startup and when it's cold, and when you drive it hard, which I tend to. You just gotta keep topping it up and it'll be fine. One other thing I want to do before winter arrives is re-stud these tires. You can see they used to be studded. A little bit, just some rusty nubs in there. I was looking on Amazon, you can get some cheap kits that you just screw the studs in yourself. Don't think you'd do much harm in adding those to improve some traction Make it the ultimate winter driving machine. Warm enough for me. Pop the hood and shut it off. I'll leave you in there. Just quiet down. It's been a while since I've done a little change on this. Can't even remember where the drain plug. Oh, is that it? Oh, fuck. There it is. There we go. That was tight. See how dark this oil is. Yeah, that's pretty gross. One nice thing about these is the oil filter is right up front and center. See if I can touch it without touching the do not touch hot cover. Finally got it loose, but I had to destroy it with a pair of pliers. I don't know why it was on there so tight. The downside of having this mounted with the bottom down, you will see in 1 minute. Oil everywhere. Yeah. Looks like I missed my drain pan a little bit. Luckily it all got on the cardboard. I think I got too much on the ground. New filter is now on. Hopefully not as crazy tight as the other one was. I don't know what I was thinking when I put that on. Maybe I forgot to oil the gasket or something. Okay, good enough. I'm putting it back in. There we go. One of the annoying things about the 3SFE engine is this. So when you're pouring the oil in, you can see that there's like a half of it is blocked. So it only goes in half as fast, which sucks in the winter. I said 3.5 liters on my piece of tape, so I'll put that much in, maybe a little bit less, and then start it up and see where we're at. So I pour it in. Pretty close to 3.5 liters. Let's cap this off and start it up. Almost lost this pine needle into the engine when I was putting the cap on. I saw it fall in and luckily managed to get it out while it was still sitting on that little lip. So I guess it did something productive. Otherwise that would have been in there. Also add a bit of lucas. Can't go wrong with that. The engine may have some problems. There you go, valve seals. Hey, don't blow it out. Put this back on before we get any more pine needles in there. How's the level? Looks to be right at the top. Perfect. Now it's time for a new label. Where are we at now? 309. 721. Was I right before? 14 millimeters, 3.5 liters. Perfect. That can leave. Good to go for another year. Something else I would like to deal with before winter is the rust that's trying to come back below the window on the hatch here. Luckily, I've got the perfect tool for the job. Well, tools. Actually, looks like it's starting to get under the window seal, which is not very good. I'll have to scrape this pretty well and dry it out nice before I try to paint it. I cleaned it off somewhat, and then dried it off with air and a rag. So you can see this spot's actually pretty bad. It's starting to make a hole there. I managed to get a light coat of Tremclad on with a brush before I ran out. Could use some more still, but I got the main areas covered, at least. I'll give it another coat once this is dried and once I have gotten more of it. Hopefully that'll do the trick for another year. Here is something else I would like to fix. The bent bracket, whatever you want to call it, for the rear hitch. You can see now it doesn't even line up with the hole that happened last winter when I was pulling out my uncle in a van. He got stuck. It was a pretty big van. So yeah, you can see how angled that is compared to this one. And how skewed that is. So that needs some work. I put it back on the flow charger so that the battery will take more of a charge. I know I just killed it more by starting it and not running it for long or driving it so the alternator couldn't charge it. But I think that's it for this video. I think I'll wait to try to straighten out the back piece once I have this plated again and move it to the garage. It's not really a big deal yet. So I'll do that later. And now there are some of my projects more done.